With so much focus on keeping ourselves and our loved ones safe and healthy, it's easy to forget that most of us are going to experience things like allergies, colds, possibly even the flu. So, reminding you, proper hydration is crucial for all of these things. Remember, even slight dehydration can make you feel like you're getting sick, and none of us need that anxiety right now, that's for sure. That's where Hydrolyte comes in. Longtime fans will remember my obsession with Hydrolyte, which is simply the best oral rehydration product I've tried. I'm even more excited to introduce their brand new single-serve powder sticks. Simply pour one powder stick into a glass of water. They recommend 7 ounces. The powder dissolves almost instantly, creating the perfect balance of sodium, glucose, and water. Delivers up to 4 times the electrolytes of your typical sports drink. The other great news about Hydrolyte's new powder sticks, they're 100% all natural. No artificial flavors, colors, or sweeteners. They're available in flavors like orange and lemonade, and they taste great. Hydration is crucial, and Hydrolyte is fastest and easiest way to stay ahead of it. Get your supply of Hydrolyte powder sticks now at hydrolyte.com/DRDREW. Again, that's HYDRALYTE.com/DRDREW, and then use that code Dr. Drew 25 at checkout.
This episode is courtesy of Hydrolyte. Hey everyone, it's a dose of Dr. Drew.
Listen to you. How about that?
Let me see if I can find your where you are.
Okay, there we are. Ooh, I'm recapitulated a number of times on the screen.
Okay, sorry about that.
Thank you, Micah, for giving us the feedback. We are just letting you guys come on into the chat room before I answer your questions.
Hold on a second.
Thank you, Carla. Monica Ricci, welcome. So, we got the stream there too, which is great.
Wait, hold on. I got to move that over. I'm doing a great job.
Before I speak?
No, you can speak. I'll fix it.
Is that my camera right there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry,
so
it's a little off center.
No problem. I'm
gonna. Whoop. There you go.
Oh, look at. How'd you do that?
Magic.
That's weird. Was that the other camera?
I know. We had to do an ad right before this.
We had to do an ad. I was just working with the great Tom Arnold on his podcast, which I don't know when it's going to air, but he was waxing poetic about the great producing capacity of Susan Pinsky.
Here I am making all these mistakes.
Poetic. Like, he goes, I'm going to tell you about your wife. Let me tell you about your wife. That woman, she can produce.
I can produce, but engineering, I'm not so great. Oh. Remember, I didn't engineer that show.
Right. And so we're going to have Tyrus in here in just a couple of minutes.
Well.
Okay. COVID's, yeah. Okay, Snippy wants to talk about aerosol talk from the CDC. I'm not quite sure what the CDC's position is going to be, but it's clear that although we're doing a great job of preventing droplet transmission with masks, there appears to be some aerosol transmission. Now, some is what's being sort of debated and worked through, and whether that some is sufficient for people to be conscious and thinking about it, as opposed to people that create industrial environments and employment environments. They need to think about aerosols, but whether the average individual should be thinking about aerosols still is kind of, I think, what they're arguing about, I suspect.
What are you talking about, the CNN article?
No, the CDC put up some stuff about aerosols and then pulled it down. And I don't know.
Did you see this article? Okay. Oops. That's no good.
Yeah, you want to
just...
That's
not it. That's my freaking
That's
email.
Not the article?
I think it's in here. Oh, no, it's going to be it. It's going to make me pay. As doctors worry...
You read me the headline.
Oh, hold on. Oops, sorry. My bad. As doctors worry about a very apocalyptic fall, the CDC retracts on how COVID-19 spreads.
Apocalyptic fail. What in the hell are they talking about?
No, fall. Apocalyptic fall, meaning the fall. Like the fall's coming.
Oh, my God. That is...
I found that. I just had it queued, and then I just showed everybody.
That is...
That's not good.
Yeah. Here's the deal. Did we have an apocalyptic summer? Was that just apocalypse we just went through? That's what doctors are worried about, is another episode of a surge like that. Was that an apocalypse, everyone? It was unpleasant. It was, we could have done better. We should have done better. We can do better. But it was not an apocalypse. It was an unfortunate series of, events that led to a spread and an increase in the death rate. Let's talk about what it actually was, though. Again, no one can stop this virus in its entirety. We can't do that. There's going to be death. There's going to be spread. if the virus, we can delay it and we can try to get it out until the vaccine, but we cannot prevent we can't do it. We can minimize the impact on the healthcare system. Right now, everything is still down. And if you look at, I'm looking at the U.S. Pattern. There's sort of a head and shoulders pattern that's developing in terms of the new cases, where it goes. We had our spring outbreak, and then we had the summer outbreak, and now we're sort of plateauing again in the fall, and then it'll probably, again, it typically matches the rise and increase, and it'll probably match what's going on. But this is the U.S. data. But within that data, in spite of the summer surge being twice what it was in the spring, the hospitalization rate was exactly the same as the spring. So literally half the hospitalization rate per cases, and way less deaths. So it's twice the number of cases, but half the deaths. That's a major difference. That's a significant difference in how we're managing this thing. I'm spending a lot of time looking at California, so I'm just trying to figure out what's going on here, and particularly locally, like LA County and Orange County, it's going down. There had been no Labor Day surge. Did Labor Day cause an apocalypse as they were expecting?
There's a little tick up, but
there was a plateauing. There wasn't even a tick up. There's a plateauing 2 weeks after the fact. So fires are apocalyptic, Andrew. To me, it feels like a normal fire season. It's just a little early. It seems very, very unpleasant.
That was the other thing that was in the news. We have to ask Tyrus how the hurricanes actually were.
We're going to talk to Tyrus about the hurricanes.
I mean, everything's kind of tense, and it's not easy. But
yes. So Andrew Ashkashvili makes a really interesting comment here. The IHME, the University of Washington model, is starting to revise their numbers down, saying that interventions are working better than they predicted. Imagine that. I suggest everyone should follow. There's some really good people out there trying to make sense of things and not be apocalyptic about this. If you see words grim, staggering, apocalyptic, immediately turn the channel or don't pay attention to that link. That come on, let's be ridiculous. Don't be ridiculous. There could be, it could be a surge. It could happen. I'm not saying that, but it's not going to be an apocalypse. Oh my God, please. Do we really listen? We listen to news outlets. We really do. It's too much. Isn't wearing a piece of cloth as a mask as worthless as a tube sock over a condom? Robbie, a single sheet, but a double sheet cloth does tend to be very effective. So the neck gaiters that I saw in the NFL yesterday were sort of concerning, and the and bandanas aren't very good. So, what is that? Perpetual student, Miguel. Miguel, I don't think there is such thing as a perpetual student, number one, because these days to be a really significant contributor, you need to have a lot of training.
Our daughter wanted to be a perpetual learner.
Yeah, I mean, if you get...
she didn't want to quit school.
By the time you get a certain amount of training, you end up being a perpetual learner, and that's sort of what happens to you. You're always, reading and training and revising and looking at things. It's just what you do. So you don't necessarily need nor schooling per se past a certain point. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good training out there that people take till they're in their 30s to finish. That's the way it goes. Leopold, okay, you're going to tell me what this was. CDC took back the aerosol spread. Are you concerned about politicization of science? No, Leopold, I think what's happening there, I think they're trying to decide how to give that information to the public in such a way that they can use it. In other words, people like you that are worrying about commercial environments, that sort of thing, you need that information, but I'm not sure the public does, because the average person, what are we going to do with the knowledge of minimal aerosol spread? It doesn't make sense for us to, I mean, I guess think about flying on planes, but we see as a matter of fact that the plane transmission is very, very, very low. I am always worried, Leopold, about the politicization of science and medicine. It's gotten out of control. NFL mandating a mask on everyone on the sideline, even though they're all tested and tested negative, but it's okay to run on the field and tackle each other. I found that very bizarre and particularly non-scientific and non-clinical. It seemed really weird to me, but it seems to be the NFL signaling, virtue signaling. It does not make sense. I guess It's possible that, some of the non-player types or players that aren't on the field,
I said that yesterday.
why they have the
Do you
masks
remember
on.
me?
Yeah.
I said they're all wearing masks on the side, but they're like jumping up and down and kissing each other on the
Yeah.
field.
Yeah.
But whatever. God, they're a team. They need to all get it.
Let's see what Brandy says here. Brandy Lynn. Okay. It depends on how others use truth. Some people take a word and feel with it. Others see it as an illusion to describe data, but only see data. I'm not sure what that means. I think using exaggerated language is dishonest. I think it has a specific intent, which is to manipulate and capture eyes. It is the boy who cried wolf, and so it becomes impossible then to tell what we should be paying attention to. So it is problematic. And to be using affect only when you're supposed to be news, which is a fact-based organization, really a problem. Let's see, Don, what are you saying?
How about this question on the from an email?
What's that?
It's on the screen.
Nope. Oh, there.
Can you read it?
Over here. I have to get way over to read it.
Okay, that's all right.
My daughter's 2 and loves to dismantle things. We do it nonstop. She always has a lot of energy, and she loves to run towards her pop, who is a cop. All these things are leading me to believe that she had secretly...
She has been secretly using, which would not be a first for her.
She is 2?
She's been in and out of rehab for meth and cocaine usage since birth. Please help, Ben.
How old is she? She's not 2. She's 20 something 2, 32 or something. Who knows?
I think
that's
a joke.
I see. Okay. Well, let me see that. Well, he's right that if she's dismantling things and running, towards the police, that is meth, not cocaine, meth. So it's a joke. Okay.
It is a joke. I think it's a joke. I don't think 20.
Well, it's weird.
Her pop, who's a cop. She's 2. God, where's your sense of humor today?
What was Kumia, C4P? Maybe I don't know what that is. I'm going to actually look it up. Is that going to... Am I going to be...
Okay, so you can't see the stuff over there. I'm sorry, it's not going to work in that direction.
I can see it. I can look over there. Just hard.
I know.
Yeah, maybe they meant 22, or maybe it was just all a joke.
It's a joke.
Okay, here's not a joke. That's correct. I've had suicidal thoughts since 12 years of age. After years of treatment, they always come back. Doesn't this have a cure? That's correct. Suicidality is a very strange thing. It could be a separate symptom, separate from everything. And you might want to look at some transcranial magnetic stimulation or these sorts of retraining mechanisms or SPECT scans and things to try to figure out exactly what's going on and address that biology. The fact that it keeps coming back, it seems like a little bit divorced from the depression itself. It's sort of a recurrent symptom. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. That is a really difficult problem. I don't have new news on the Moderna vaccine, and I don't know what Kumia is, so I'm sorry. Is asthma still off the pre-existing condition list? Well, Michael, they put asthma back on as a concern for complications of COVID, which makes sense, right? If you have any chronic lung disease and you get any diminishment of lung function or lung infections that destabilize your lung physiology, it makes sense if you had airway disease, it's going to add to the troubles. So they keep taking it off and putting it back on again. Let's just say if you have bad asthma, if you get any pneumonia and you have bad asthma, it's bad. So if you have COVID, which has not only pneumonia associated with it, but also the cytokine storm, it's a problem. Terrified of coming off long-term tramadol. Rory, it depends how much you've been taking. If you're coming up just 2 or 3 a day, it tends to be not bad at all. Mandatory masks. Okay, Leopold. Best friend, yeah. Okay. Okay, Leopold, your friend has liver and kidney damage. If he stops drinking today, is it possible he can reverse the damage? It's possible. It depends. I mean, the only irreversible liver damage is cirrhosis, and you can die of advanced liver disease non-cirrhotic just by making yourself so sick. But if you don't have the scarring of cirrhosis yet, not everyone gets cirrhosis, even no matter how bad their liver disease is. And as such, it can recover. But the fact that he has kidney issues on top of it, that suggests that something bad is going on. Usually the kidneys get involved when the liver is shutting down. So that is bad time. Do I think we'll see another shutdown in the fall, winter? I do not. If we do, I think there'll be some sort of reaction against it because
hair salons.
It's we're not seeing that it's necessary or that it works. The really interesting question now, here's an interesting question. The question is, does this reach and surge and fall in COVID that we've had reflect us wearing masks and social distancing? Or is it just the natural history of the virus? Or is it something about herd immunity? There's a lot now going around saying that the actual herd immunity may actually need to be more like 20% and not 60%, based on the idea that we've all been exposed to cold coronaviruses, coronaviruses that cause us upper respiratory infections. We've all been exposed to those, leaving behind some sort of modified immunity, some sort of T-cell immunity that allows us to fight off relatively low exposures to this SARS coronavirus too. So it is possible that 50% of us have some sort of mild immunity already, some natural mild immunity from other coronavirus exposure. So once you get the 20% of the population through the illness, now you're at 70%, and that may be all we need to hold this thing off. So that's an interesting conversation that some people are having out there. George Clark, I don't know how many of the cool guys have passed away, but I'm sure some of them. 8 times 50 milligrams, Rory, 8 a day is a lot. You're going to have to taper that down. You're probably taking 2 4 times a day. I would immediately go to talk to your doctor, but one of the ways to do that is to go to 1 4 times a day, and then 1 3 times a day, and then 1 twice a day, and then talk about some cold turkey. And you would do getting off it altogether from twice a day. And you do that tapering down like once every week or two. So, Barb, I don't think I can answer that. Barb is on Lexapro in the past. She's on a SNRI now, like Effexor or something like that. She wants to go back to Lexapro because it had worked, but the fact that it didn't work is worth going back on it. I mean, it's usually better to think about adding something like Abilify or a mood stabilizer, those kinds of things, than going back to something that you've had what's called tachyphylaxis to. It wore off.
Here's a question, an email.
All right.
It's not as funny as the last one.
Okay. I pray that my daughter, I believe, is killing herself, would check into rehab. She said God will heal her. She's on Molly, cocaine, marijuana, alcohol every day. I'm afraid, should I let her go homeless? I'm on a fixed income. I can't keep paying her tent. 81 and retired. Willie, if there's any way you can go to a program called Al-Anon, it's free. You can go online right now. Go to Al-Anon, get a sponsor, and start getting help on this. In all probability, you're going to have to let your daughter sink to whatever level she needs to sink to before she's willing to get care. There is free services out there, but you have to really want them. You have to find them, and you have to fight for the county-funded beds and that kind of thing. And those beds will only be held for somebody who really is out there fighting for them themselves. Am I over here? Adam Amico, I take it you watched the cats videos. I did watch the cats videos, and they were one of them, and it was very interesting. I'd heard that before, though, from other sources. What he's talking about is that 50% possible T-cell immunity. That is something we're going to hear tomorrow about a company who measures immune function this way, and I'm going to ask them whether they have a way. They may have some way to tell us whether we have adequate T-cell response. And if that's true, we could start using their technology to figure that out. It's called Additix. Look it up. I'm working with that company. I think they're onto something. Is COVID genetically engineered, Steve? I don't know. I don't have an opinion about that. For sure, what I know for sure is it wasn't released intentionally. I mean, why would a communist government do that to its own population? Let's see. Miguel, I'm not sure what that question is there. What is Molly? That's MDMA or ecstasy. That's what they're talking about there. MDMA, ecstasy. So she's on polydrugs. Polydrugs, alcohol, and pot. I mean, that's mostly what she's doing. That people end up homeless on that all the time.
Well, it sounds like she's older because he's 81. So she's probably in her 50s.
Yep, 40s, 50s for sure. MDMA is ecstasy. MDMA, ecstasy, Molly, all the same thing.
I know it's sad because, like, what do? You're retired and your kids are falling apart.
81, boy. I mean, it's a lot of work to go to an Al-Anon program.
I have to say, I kind of doctored up the language. His verbal skills were not that great.
Oh, poor guy.
I know.
Sunny wants to know if I'm still lifting. Yes, I try to every day. Do something. Al-Anon meetings are on Zoom now, so you can go do that. Good natural supplements for hypertension. No. If you have hypertension, you need to get that treated. You have a disease. It needs to be treated. I've been on hypertensive meds since my mid-30s. Your body miscalculates. There's a communication between the right atrium and the kidney that comes off because of your genetic predilections, and you have to reset that. And there's only pharmacology that can do that. You must get treatment. These days, it is considered inadequate care if you allow your pressure to drift up at all. And then what it does, it damages vessels. All the vessels get shear forces, and it damages your heart because it now is seeing something it has to push against that it's not designed to do. The vessels in the brain can go, vessels in the kidneys go. So do not let that happen. Get on treatment. There's absolutely no reason not to take an antihypertensive med every day. You'll never know you're taking it. You can find a one that you will literally not know you're taking and just resets the hormones from your kidney to keep things back where it's supposed to be. Hypertension means high blood pressure, Miss Kaylee. And high blood pressure is really, these days, for sure, anything over 120/80. And some would argue we should even be aiming for lower than that. Thank you, Brian. I did not get to meet Joey Diaz. He was on before me, and they didn't bring me in there until... No, Joey was in New Jersey during the podcast, so I did not get to see him. Though I got to sit outside and watch him. He was very funny.
Pretty funny.
Yeah. Tom, you did a bit of Molly in your 20s. My question would be, Tom, the thing to watch out for if you did a bunch of MDMA or whatever it is, it's all the same, is that exposure to MDMA is associated with mood disturbances and memory disturbances. So if you find you're having and you're relatively young and you're having some short-term memory problems and your mood is sort of unstable for no particular reason, that is the Molly, that's the MDMA that did that. And you should be thinking about getting some treatment because it can work. COVID in the UK. Prime Minister is speaking to us tomorrow. Louise, I think what's going on in the UK is the same thing that's going on in every country that tries to push this thing down, is that when you open things back up, it just comes back. I mean, that makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, you push it down, you open up, it just comes back. All you can do is sort of put in as many adjustments in place that slow it down so we can reduce the hospitalizations, get to the vaccine. That's about all you can do. I mean, if you want to lock everything down completely, there's going to be so many untoward consequences from that are going to rival any significant consequences from the COVID. Aren't we learning that now? Aren't we learning that?
Can you read this? Here's another email.
Hang on, though. Before you put it up there, let me just...
Yeah, I can put up this one first.
Call me Blondie. You want me to speculate on what happened to Nancy Pelosi during the Stephanopoulos interview? I think she tried to make a joke and it failed, and Stephanopoulos was confused. Yes, Matthew Fessier. I had my hands to my face many times during the YMH thing as well. That's interesting, Mommy Tarsh. I'm not familiar with the media bias chart. I'll take a look at that. Although I don't know if I believe, I didn't believe the charts. You know what I mean? Do I recall what toothbrush Christina P suggested? I do not. Had that serotonin from when I did.
Look at my question.
Okay, let's see your question. Go ahead.
Are you afraid?
No, I'm trying to catch up. I all of a sudden had a whole bunch of things to respond to here.
Okay, here it is.
36-year-old female in good health 10 years ago was 100 pounds overweight, joined a weight loss clinic that prescribed phentermine. Oh boy. My question is whether or not to continue taking this medication. Is it really harmful? Phentermine is an amphetamine type drug. The question is it worth the risk of the side effects of the stimulant over long term to get the weight loss? Usually not. Also, if you remember phentermine, and what was the other thing we used to give with that, was causing heart problems. I mean, it really, generally speaking, pharmacology to treat weight problems is largely been abandoned. I can't tell you how often I was around people who were saying, I'm just going to take this the rest of my life. My doctor says I have a... No. Those were dangerous drugs, had really serious side effects.
Doesn't it cause mood disorders too?
It can cause mood problems.
Like Molly?
It could. But more importantly, you can get addicted to it. You can have trouble getting off. It just... Oof. Amber, should I get a flu shot? Yes, it really matters and it really works. We don't want flu as well as COVID in the upcoming season. Jeremy, I'm glad you liked the RPC house tour. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, I was on a podcast on Friday where we have a famous sort of character there named Robert Paul Champagne, whose home I toured on video. Did you see that, Susan?
That was the highlight. Everybody liked it.
Did you
I
see
was
that?
watching all the comments. They liked the minute you came on with him, everybody perked up.
They like that. Okay. Mm-hmm. Can you kill someone from overdosing?
So fascinating.
Yeah. I don't see how you can kill somebody by putting nicotine on a toothbrush. Talking sports, nicotine is. I mean, if you have bad heart disease or something, I imagine you could do that to somebody, but it seems almost impossible. I got overdosed on nicotine by Mike Catherwood with a snooze packet. I thought I wanted to vomit all day. I had a headache. It was terrible.
What did
That's
you
it.
do?
RPC did look good. Does look good, Brian.
He was all jazzed up, RPC. I actually watched it.
Brian, any issues wearing masks, for example, bacteria, etc.? Yeah, you can get some, bacteria in your skin. That's one side effect, but I think it's so unusual and worth the potential risk. And it's easy to treat. It's no big deal. It's just topical agents. Yeah, he really seemed to be doing well, Casey, RPC. So, Susan, is my friend Tyrus set up here? Is he coming soon?
Not here yet.
Oh, where's Tyrus? I want to hear all about the Louisiana storms.
I don't know where he is. Should I text him?
No, we'll see.
Did I send him the invite? I may have
Uh-oh.
forgotten.
New breakthroughs regarding macular degeneration. Aloha. There's always research being done. There's actually intra-articular injections right now for the I believe it's the wet macular degeneration. I've had several patients on those injections. Not gone great. Maybe it slowed it down a little bit, but it definitely didn't stop it. Attending rallies and gatherings with masks and physical distancing. I am okay with that if you can actually maintain the masks and physical distancing. I mean, I generally think we should be allowed. I don't think we should have large groups of people together. I think that's generally a bad idea. I mean, if we can go to, we'll see what happens in the states that I was thinking about this yesterday or Saturday, really. We'll see in the states that allowed the college football stadiums to have fill up. I mean, we'll see if that's a viable thing for people to do or not. Look at those states where they allowed it and see if there's any uptick in the next 7 days.
We were really enjoying it, though, watching football with people and outside in 100-degree weather. It was kind of fun.
Oklahoma is peaking again.
It was even a fight.
I know. Let me look at Oklahoma again. What did we see? Oh, a fight at the bar.
Yeah,
we went out to a bar to watch football. But it was outdoors. It was an outdoor bar with outdoor everything. And it was nice. It was really, I mean, you have to do this stuff. I don't know about you guys. I'm getting depressed if we don't do these things.
Kansas City
you've
fans
been
are
on
very happy.
Oklahoma's been on a pretty steady course of positive slope, except for the downturn in August. You're back on the same slope up. You don't have many cases. I don't know let me see what it is per 1 million. You're actually I don't know how to interpret this. You're actually having lower cases per million right now. The hospitalization rate has stayed steady. The death rate is going down. So I don't know. I mean, what to do with that? That's a great question. What do you guys think? What do we do with a situation where the case rate is going up, the hospitalization rate is low and steady? Let me put it back as totals. Yeah, low. And the death rate is going down. The last couple of days have been 1 or 2 deaths, 2 or 3 deaths. What do you do with that? So the case rate is going up, almost no deaths, Hospitalizations low and staying steady. Should we be worried about that? The fact that you're worrying about it in Oklahoma is kind of stunning to me. I would say that most of those so-called cases are not cases. They're people with viral RNA that may or may not be infective. So that's the difficult question here is, should we be counting everybody as a case? Who do we determine is infectious or not? Clearly, things are going pretty well in Oklahoma, even though the case rate is going up. It's important always to look at the hospitalization rate and the death rate. Those are really much more what we're concerned with than the case rate. If a bunch of asymptomatic carriers are out there, we need to follow them, but we don't need to worry about them. They're not getting sick. Let's see. You asked about the rallies. Which games did we catch? We caught the Seahawks, New England. We caught the Chargers. Forget who they were playing.
Washington? No.
They lost. Shoot, that's crazy. We watched a couple of obscure college football games because there weren't any of the usual teams playing. No, they lost with field goal in the last second. Oh yeah! Congratulations, CJ. Schitt's Creek. We were early fans of that show. I mean, not super early, but early enough. And I had an experience. Susan's laughing about where we were at the MTV Movie Awards, and they were up for some sort of an award. And Dan Levy, and Annie Murphy were there. And I ran over to them
like a little girl.
They were both like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" It's like that. I scared them. I was humiliated. I composed myself and started talking to Dan. He could not have been a nicer guy. And that's how I learned that he was the creator, writer, producer, director of the whole thing.
Right.
Which I did not know. Yeah, Dustin. Okay, Dustin has a really interesting thing here. In British Columbia, Canada, hospitalizations are increasing, deaths are increasing. Same with ICU. We used to be a model province for slowing the spread. Slowing the spread, not preventing the spread, right? So you're going to have some upticks. You're slowing the spread. You're not trying to stop it entirely. It's so weird that we can't get that through our head, that we're having any... We're probably not going to be able to determine what the total death rate is going to be, almost no matter what we do. But what's clear is we should be quarantining at-risk population. That is clear. It's not clear that we should be quarantining anybody else. We should be keeping people at risk of complications away from the general population so these asymptomatic people don't infect them. Yes, Christopher. Yes, long-term marijuana addicts get a depression phase eventually if you use enough of it.
I have to say, though, when one show wins everything, it's kind of it's like watching a one-sided football game. You know, when it's like 53-0.
Yep.
After a while, you're just like, okay, what's the acceptance?
And my other favorite show.
I love that show. It was worth it, but it was just kind of. I mean, there were some really other good nominees. You know. What
We Do in the Shadows, my other favorite show. I thought they might win something, and they did not.
You always call it in advance. Like when we were at the MTV Movie Awards last year, you were like, they should win. We all decided.
Yeah.
But that's all kind of weirdly rigged anyways.
Yeah, kind of.
I don't know what happened to Tyrus. I hope he's okay.
I'm sure he's fine. Somebody wants me to look at Oregon, so I will do that dutifully.
I don't know. Maybe he's, I sent him a banner.
It's kind of a slow news day. There's not a lot going on. Oregon is on a steady decline and everything. And the case rates are low. Hospitalization at a little plateau.
Okay, he's coming.
Don't know quite what to make of that. Death rate is again down to one death per day.
I have to live up to Tom Arnold's compliments of being a good producer and having people show up on time. So we have a show this Wednesday with Tom Arnold. As a matter of fact, Ask Dr. Drew. We'll be taking calls.
I did not know that.
I know. Remember, we were supposed to book him, and you ended up going on his show first.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Well,
this will air first.
So. His cohort, Sasha, has a bunch of questions for me.
She's coming on too.
That we didn't get to, so maybe I'll let her do that.
I didn't get her picture. I have to do that. Okay. Sorry, Sasha. I'll do that for tomorrow.
Anna Santina. We don't know why there's a delay at the FDA with leronlimab. Obviously, there are some concerns about the control group. There's been since the beginning. And again, they may need to see a larger study group. Oh, you want to talk Love Boat now? No, you have to listen to the Adam and Dr. Drew podcast for that.
We watched it last night.
Yes, we did.
Sundays are our favorite night.
Excuse me. There it
Bless
is.
you.
Is it 4:30?
No,
Yes,
it's 3:40.
3:40. I mean 3:30.
opposite.
3:30. I'm at 3:30. But I have had difficulty getting through the Love Boat last night. It was
You okay?
Yes.
Okay, Tyrus is here. I'm going to work on that.
All right, we'll bring
Hold-
Tyrus in
Well,
here.
just give me a minute. It's going to take me a second.
Sunny Chopra, there are so many positive tests. Are these tests oversensitive or overspecific? You're onto something there. We amplify our polymerase chain reactions 40 times. Most countries do it 25 times. So we may be picking up just pieces of RNA, not particles of the virus, not infected individuals, just virus that's in the environment that's sort of broken apart but lands in our nose and maybe binds there. So yes, we are probably over detecting. I think I hear Tyrus.
I know. I'm working. He's working on it. Give me a second. Don't get too excited.
Ms. Kaylee, the CDC pulled down something about
Somewhere
aerosol
else.
today.
I see roses.
And I don't think it's a big deal.
I see
I think
roses.
we
Could I have
just-
roses? Yeah, it's not a big deal to me either.
There you go. Why did you have to go out and buy those roses?
No, I buy roses every week.
Oh, good for
Oh,
you,
that's
man.
Sweet. I'm
I
trying
smell
to
'em.
set up the camera.
Is Flexeril addictive, Zach? No, it is not.
I don't
Flexeril
know
is
if I
actually
like
originally an antipsychotic medication that they found had some muscle relaxing property. I'm not a huge fan of that drug. It is very sedating. Elderly patients can fall on it. It's not really targeted therapeutic drug. My dog is all over me right now. What do you want? What's going on?
Lunchtime. Nobody's got 'em yet.
Ugh, please, Brian, please.
What did Brian
Had
say?
a neighbor with colloidal silver and zinc and was better in 2 days. Either A, they didn't have COVID, or B, they were going to be better in 2
this
days
angle.
anyway, as many people are.
And I'm working on it. I don't like this shot, but I'll bring it on because it's kind of.
Dustin, I did see there was a spread, an in-flight spread to a flight attendant. I don't know about that genetic component that you're talking about. The 75 milligrams of Zoloft, Casey, can give you low energy and low sex drive.
Okay, he's
very
here.
easily
Well,
so.
he's sort of here. He's still.
They're still asking about a Patreon account, Susan. We do need to get that done.
Caleb hasn't finished yet. I don't know. He gave up.
I did see Adam. I saw Katz's one of Katz's interviews. It was good, solid. All right, my friend, there you are. Where's the fish tank?
I am on location, so I'm
Ooh.
not. I think I'm
Okay.
at Sensible Meals Kitchen headquarters, where I am doing my part, getting food out to the masses as acting general manager of the kitchen. So
Nice, fantastic. How did the storm go for you guys?
again, a little rain,
Yeah.
a little wind, but nothing to write home about in terms of.
Texas and Louisiana,
It sounds-
we're suffering horribly today. I looked it up.
It sounds apocalyptic. Tyrus. Just like
I
they said in
think-
the press.
I think other areas got hit harder than we did, of course, but the problem is, since it's such a blanket statement, it's hard to even when people get hit, it's hard to focus on them because the media covers it, and then once it's not, apocalyptic, if Godzilla didn't come out of the water,
Right.
they move on instead of giving attention to the people who need it.
Right. I totally
Areas
agree
that-
with you.
Because, like, for example, Lake Charles, Louisiana got hit with some pretty good flooding. We didn't hear about them again because it was just Lake Charles, just wasn't enough
Yeah.
for the media to cover it.
Right. They've got to go to some other impending apocalypse. It feels like the impending doom is what they really specialize in. Once the doom hits, not so interesting.
And it's just it's been I've had some anger issues this week.
Oh, wait, hold on. I want to hear more about this, but I got to answer a question on my thread here. Zach, Lamictal is a very safe medication. It's excellent for mood stabilizing if somebody can tolerate it. It was originally, I believe, a seizure medicine and meant to be taken lifelong, so it's nothing to worry about. What's with the anger issues? What's going on, man?
I just feel the country has been bamboozled.
Okay.
We have been playing this game And I'm not sure if you might agree with me on this one or not. I don't know, but I feel like the Senate is responsible for the division in this country. The Senate is responsible for the constant hate attacks on the president that is not the president you voted for. If it's not your party, they are the direct reason why we have the issues that we have in this country, and we have to get term limits to get them out of office. I mean, all of them. Mitch McConnell is it's almost treasonous what he's done. And
what's he doing? What is it pissing you off? I'm not quite there with you yet.
Here's the thing. If everyone, we always hear, the biggest thing we always hear, President Trump's a liar. We hear that all the time. He's not honest. He's not this. He's all these bad, horrible things. Everything that's wrong in this country is President Trump's fault if you're not a President Trump supporter. And if you are a Trump supporter, it's the polar opposite, right?
Right.
When Barack Obama was in his last year of presidency, and we have the situation where a Supreme Court justice pick came out, right? And Mitch McConnell, because Senate had the majority, came out with this ridiculous lie about
right.
Which led to the lie was that you need to hold the pick for the new elect because the election's close.
Right. So you're talking about 4 years ago. Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So that became the precedent or whatever. Had he been an honest man, had he not been this person who's been corrupting this country, had he not had his whole mission in life being thwart the presidency of Barack Obama. Now you would think, as a Republican, why does this bother me? I'm going to get to that, and this is my outrage.
Okay.
He took the pick and he tried to put some sort of rule behind it instead of saying exactly what it was that he was doing. In doing this move of basically stealing a pick from the Barack Obama presidency to get someone of his values that he wanted in there, he wanted to wait till the Republican was in office. In doing that, he set the course for what has been a civil war at the expense of the Trump presidency. The Democratic Party basically at that point said, okay, you stole from us.
It's on,
We're going to steal from you.
Okay.
So then they attacked President of the United States. They went after, that was what, you took away ours, we're going to take away yours. That started it. Then when that wonderful woman passed away, who I didn't agree on hardly anything in policy, but her story is amazing and she was an amazing person and she's an American hero. Having said that, I knew that this is when Mitch McConnell would show who he really is. Now, I knew full well that there was no way that he was going to do what he said he was going to do, which was, this was the new precedent, right? But also in doing what he did, he gave the illusion that President Trump was not going to be reelected, that they had to get this pick in now because presidency's in trouble.
Right.
That's the message that he sent to the base.
Oh, that's
the message that he sent to the Democratic Party.
Yeah, I mean, there is an argument to be made for the president to hold back and go, hey, I'm going to hold back on this pick until my next term as a way of getting people out to go vote for him if that's what he wants. You know what I mean?
But the thing was, President Trump should have never been put in that situation. He never should have been put in a situation where he's in the crossfires now. It's by all rights his pick. Doesn't matter whether it's one day before the election. If it happens on his watch, it's his pick. But because the Senate, and there's a reason why the Senate's approval rating is like 7. And because they have been doing this. The problem is who catches all the flack, who catches all the blame for their corruptness, we always talk about the swamp. The swamp is alive and well. It's on the Republican Party side. It's on the Democratic side. And we have seen the swamp because now President Trump's going to be in a fight, which could cost him an election over this pick, which is the direct result of the corrupt Senate. Mitch McConnell, the Democratic side, they all do the same thing.
No more. The House is different.
No more. Who?
Do you think the House is different, or would it behave
the
same way?
I don't. This is what my point is. Term limit, because we cannot. This is how we get caught up in these agendas of these career politicians who have made millions off the American taxpayer. They continue to cause us. We fight their dirty laundry in the street. We have division over it. Democrats feel robbed, and honestly, rightfully so, with the Supreme Court pick. It was in February. Now here we are in a situation now where President Trump, by all rights, has every right to make this selection, and it's going to be tainted, and it's going to be a fight in the streets because of the result of these corruptible people. If Mitch McConnell would have been any kind of man about it and said, "I'm taking this pick because I can," we have the majority of the House, and we're going to block it. If he would have said that, if he would have had any shred of honesty or integrity and said that, instead he made up some bullshit law that he was some bullshit new rule they were going to do, knowing perfectly well if it ever fell in his hell app, he was not going to do it. And now that you watch how volatile things get now. We were worried about November. You watch the next month over this pick. And who do we have to thank for it?
And not only that, the outcome may be expanding the Supreme Court, which seems very inadvisable move.
More ridiculous. So now we can't vote it, so we'll make it bigger.
Yeah. So, Tyrus, it's really interesting to me that you're focusing in on that, because if I were to pull together your concerns of the last 6 weeks, they really all boil down to individual responsibility of elected officials, right? You want to hold them accountable. You want to be able to legally go after them. You want them to be on term limits. You really want them to be nailed, screwed down more tightly than we have them.
Like everybody else is.
Yeah.
Who else isn't?
Yeah.
You're a doctor. You have a board that if there's issues with your work performance, you go in front of a review board and they decide whether you can practice medicine again or not.
Hey man, that's what pisses me off more than anything, is they're the ones that are doing all this and making these decisions with no consequence to them. 4 people die in the streets in Los Angeles every day because of the laws they're creating. Good on them. Well done, everybody.
Yeah, and now we're going to literally have a civil war because Mitch McConnell is a liar. But he's not alone. I just have the burden of proof. I can show the 2 things, but Nancy Pelosi, she literally will tell you to wear a mask and that you will do all these things. Yeah. And then guess what? We catch her in a hair salon in the city breaking every rule because you know why? She wanted to get her hair done.
Yes.
But I guarantee you, if you and I decided we're going to get our hair done and we didn't, we would be getting shunned publicly and probably lose our jobs over it. You know what I mean? Because that's the cancel culture. And it works for them. But her experience was, the lady framed me. So what did she do? She ruined the woman's business because the woman told the truth. Right. That's an elected official. She only does those things because she knows we're not going to remember. Everyone blames the president for everything. Doesn't matter if it's Barack Obama. Doesn't matter if it's President Trump, George Bush, Bill Clinton. The list goes on and on. Right. Meanwhile, during if you look at how long these senators have been in, all our problems are always around this. They flip-flop them. They go with whatever benefits them, whatever makes them money. These guys start out, they might be successful lawyers or whatever, probably not too successful because they're turning to politics. And then they maybe made a couple $100,000, maybe middle 6 figures. And then all of a sudden they own mansions. Bernie Sanders, Mr. Social, has 2 mansions. Yep. You think he's donating them? It doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. You should be outraged at how they have taken advantage of our system and made us pay for it. And my concern is this bloody election, which was already an issue because of their actions, is now going to be basically a war on the streets over that. You think they're going to be if their neighborhoods had protesters coming, they'd call the National Guard in and then they'd pull police out of your neighborhood to protect their garden.
Yeah, they would.
Because, they wouldn't want to, and that's literally at what point? The one president that I think that would just have the transparency and the I don't care-ness about it because he's not concerned with the ramifications would be President Trump to put term limits in. Because he's a businessman and it probably makes sense to him. And he's not worried about being liked by politicians. He will go after either or.
What about the third element in your multi-pronged approach, limiting spending in their campaigns?
Yeah, there should be none.
Yeah,
you have to donate money to vote for somebody.
Yeah,
you got 3 town halls, you got 3 debates, and let's have at it. Let's see your plan. You need to be in a bus in a private jet. You need to have sit in the finest hotels to show Americans you can lead. We don't do that. When we want a job, when we want a new job, we want to be promoted. We come in with our game plan, our game face, and we give a hell of an interview, and they decide yes or no. Why do these guys need 8 months to campaign and spend millions and millions of dollars of taxpayers' money on stuff that we can't even find out where the money goes?
Right.
Yes. And then they have speaking events where they charge hundreds of thousands of dollars to hear them speak. And all they do is just talk in paraphrases and answer questions with questions.
Yeah. Empty slogans.
We've been hoodwinked, and everyone's focused on the one election, president of the United States. Whether you're going to go with Biden or Donald Trump or whatever. Meanwhile, it's not going to change. President Trump is reelected. Those issues will be there because all the guys who caused the problems, they loved Mitch McConnell. Them President Trump was a gift to them because he takes all the heat, and they continue to carry on and carry on in immunity. Of course, they're the ones who leak everything about him. It's the Republicans leak about him because it takes all the heat off him. And then they don't say anything. And then they realize he's so popular that they can get away with it. But now my concern is that I put this moment up there, this for the Republican Party is just as big as when the FBI came out and said they were reopening the Hillary Clinton investigation. It threw the entire election off to our favor. But this is the same thing where you're inspiring one side and you're defeating another.
So do you recommend we do something?
I feel like it's the only thing we can do is what no one's willing to do because it's a perfect system. You're asking them to police themselves. You're asking them to vote to take away their tyranny, their years and years of control and power hungry. I mean, they literally die on the job. Can you tell me a job, Dr. Drew? Could you imagine if you started to lose your life in surgery because you wouldn't give it up to a new, because I can be a doctor regardless.
Right. We watch aging, the effects of aging on our professional performance. That's actually a whole field.
Right. And here you are making decisions that affect the entire country, the entire world in a lot of cases. And Alzheimer kicks in, dementia kicks in, you're corrupt, you're doing things for yourself, you're taking stuff on the table, you're trying to cover up your affair. I mean, the list goes on and on that the Senate the Senate and the House just do this with impunity. So why would they ever give that up?
What's that?
They get free health insurance. They get any of the issues of the states do not affect them. They supplement their income. All they got to do is fundraise.
In politics, it's adorable.
What do you mean?
Biden's adorable.
Adorable? This is literally like setting Teddy Ruxpin on fire and telling the kid to hug him. Isn't it cute?
When he said that, what really made me mad was when he said that if Trump wasn't in office, there would have been no coronavirus deaths. And I thought, who says that? Like, who?
Politicians say that.
Yeah.
But come on.
And we get that. And that's part of the game. And I can live with that. And any person with any common knowledge would hear that statement and go, okay, that's not true. And then it could actually hurt him. When the campaigning is one thing, but to be a senator, to go in and to make votes or to make laws, making it look like President Trump was responsible and finding a way to profit from it, that's a whole other issue.
Yeah, I mean, I get very crestfallen when I think about how complicated and gridlocked everything is.
But it shouldn't be. It's not that hard.
I agree with you. I agree.
Term limit, they cannot ruin this country. No president will ever ruin this country, but a Senate will. You know, everyone always, in all the movies, you remember Gladiator, when literally he was a bad guy because he wanted to close the Senate. He's looking pretty smart now.
Right. Let me take you off the scent here for just a couple of minutes. People are tweeting or chatting up some questions about the CDC pulling down their comments today. Several medical organizations have put out some comments while we've been sitting here, saying that really all was in that commentary was the idea that aerosols may be more problematic than we thought, meaning that you can catch COVID at a further distance than 6 feet. That's all it really means. They're just trying to argue what the distance is from which you can get the virus. You still have to be exposed for a long period of time. It's not measles. Measles, if somebody walked through a grocery aisle, that aisle is infectious for 2 hours. And everyone that walks through that cloud who is not immune to measles will get the measles. That's a super infectious disease aerosol. This is far, far, far different. They're just trying to figure out exactly how to frame this so people don't freak out about it. And is there another storm coming your way, Tyrus?
Yep.
It may or may not be there in a day. It may or may not be of Category 4. It may or may not cause rain. It may or may not cause flooding.
It could be anything from a summer rain to DEFCON 5 life-ending event. Like what wiped out the dinosaurs literally could be coming to Louisiana,
here
Texas, right?
Or it could be sunshine.
Or slight chance of showers with an occasional wind. I don't know yet. It's too soon to tell.
Josette on the thread, do people still get the measles? Absolutely. If you haven't had the measles and you don't get the vaccine, you will get the measles. And because so few people are getting the vaccine in certain parts of the country, there are outbreaks of measles. And it is dangerous. It is dangerous. Have you learned nothing about viruses? That they can be terribly dangerous. Measles is also one of those. And it's completely preventable. I retook my measles vaccine just to make sure my immunity was up because I hadn't had it since I was a kid. You can get your levels tested.
I think I got it too, right?
I think I gave it to you too. You get the blood levels tested if you want. I took it also because I wanted
because we're old. It wears off after
I wanted the German measles coverage as well, so...
So here's a question for Tyrus.
Okay. Ask Tyrus what size hat he wears. I think someone would send you a hat. 8. He's an 8.
Yep.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt the serious stuff.
Sarita or whatever this is, Sprite. I can't quite see the name. You don't get a booster. You just get another vaccine. You get an MMR.
The whole thing.
And there was an outbreak about a year and a half ago here locally, so that's why I took my MMR again. I remember, I think I gave it to Leanne Tweeden, too. She was my radio co-host at the time.
Everybody got one.
Yeah.
I think you gave one to our housekeeper, too.
We just took it because it's just, there's no reason not to.
I have to get the shingle shot. Ugh.
So.
That's going to hurt, though, right? That's going to make me feel crappy for a couple of days.
Yes, it does.
But it's better than getting the shingles.
Scott, what are we getting people stressed about here? I'm trying to get off get on the thread here and see what people are saying, and they're saying we're getting people all stressed, all riled up. That we're trying to do the opposite, actually. Although Tyrus is riled up right now.
He's
himself.
Venting, yes.
Yeah.
He's allowed. He's on a.
Well, there's a lot going on.
I saw when it came out. Ruth Bader Ginsburg had not passed away no more than maybe 5 minutes, and the media they were already dropping the gasoline down.
Yeah.
They were laying it out. The president of the United States was asked, and he was taken aback. He said he made him feel terrible, that he respected her. He didn't agree with her a lot of her things, but he said he respected her, and he's generally sad right now. He needed a minute. And where most people would say that was eloquent, and I'm paraphrasing, but was respectful, and he didn't want to talk about anything else than that, and he got on his plane. No more than he finished that did the news immediately go into the pick. You know, he's gonna they already had his potential. They were already laying the sparks. They're already laying and Democrats are trying to do this, and they already started dropping gasoline down. And now when I look at that, I immediately think how this is going to affect things in the streets and neighborhoods, and people only get certain amounts of information. They don't read. You know, people just, you know what, you could literally put the cure for COVID in a book, and 70% of us wouldn't know and never know about it, because no one bothers to read the book anymore. Everyone reads the title. They read the hit, you know, and it's, oh, Republicans are stealing this and the Democrats, you know, they're immediately building the fight.
Yeah. That's at least in the media, both social media and traditional media, right? I mean, that seems to be their only business model, which is creating a, and by spin, I don't mean a distortion. I just mean the emotional spin.
Yeah. You know, and it's just, there was no time for reflection. And then another thing that amazes me is that how much people want to profit when somebody passes away. The specials were coming out. CNN was going to have a special in 8 minutes up, you know, about her life. Yeah. And, you know, just trying to get as much ratings as they can off the passing of an American hero. Like, it's amazing to me how much ratings can be really indifferent to the human nature. You know?
Oh my God, you're so right about that. Right? I mean, it's super crazy. That seems to be their own. You know, people are making cases now that artificial intelligence is what's spinning us. In other words, artificial intelligence is determining. Scott Adams is making this case that artificial intelligence is such that it's determining what we respond to in social media on the internet. And so it is what's actually determining how we're feeling and thinking right now, not anything that's actually in the news.
And I think that takes us off the hook. I think that takes people off the hook. It's so much easier to blame something else for our own shortcomings. We do it in literally every facet. You know, we can blame the reason why we don't have a job that we want is because an immigrant took it. We blame the reason why we don't have this is because I'm Black. Like, we do that constantly. It has become the common.
Yeah, victimhood has become our.
Yeah, I didn't get the job because, you know what, I didn't prepare as much as I probably should have. I need to reapproach this and be better. You never hear that. You always hear.
That's right.
You know what? You don't hear it because usually the people who are about it, when they get a no, they immediately begin the rebuild. They go right into, okay, I'll be back in 2 weeks, or I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll make this cut, I'll do that. Yeah. They don't cry about it.
Right.
So, and then get to where they need to go.
It's a really important point that we are in a posture now where we're all a victim, and everything that happens to us is out there. So why should we change what's in here? It doesn't matter. What's out there is what the problem is. And what's out there is victimizing me always. We recreate it. We posture ourselves to anticipate it. Did you see the Social Dilemma, the Netflix series?
So I keep looking at it. I don't know if I need to see it, you know, because again, I look at it. I saw the preview on Netflix. I actually went with the Karate Kid series. And for me, I had a blast because I felt like Johnny. You know, I felt, if you haven't seen that, where the era that we grew up in was all right, and we're going to stay there, and how out of touch. And he knew nothing about the internet. And there was this great scene where he has his computer and he takes it back to the pawn shop. And he's like, well, it doesn't work. I can't get on the internet. And he was like, you know, I tried to press the button on the side, and the guy goes, you have to open it up and turn it on. Then he gets home and calls guys like, well, where's I'm pressing the internet, it won't come on. You have to connect it to Wi-Fi. And he's like, what the hell is Wi-Fi? That's funny. And then he gets on there, and the first thing he writes is hot babes. And he's watching every movie from the 80s that he grew up watching, and like, and you're sitting there going, there's somebody who's out of touch. And then there's a certain beauty to it, to like, this is a real guy, even, it's Hollywood or whatever. But the point is like, that to me, to be that guy who has nothing to do with the internet is more attractive than the guy who sits on the internet all day and just is a sponge of headlines and cheap thrills and trolling. Like it's not like, I don't think the intention was it was supposed to be information. It was supposed to be help us become smarter, better, have all the information, all the facts. And it just turned into basically porn, trolling, and ways to make yourself look better without actually doing the work. I'll put a filter on, I'll film at an angle, I'll Photoshop it and be like, look at me, I look great. But I ate a whole pizza that day and laid around on the couch and did nothing. I wish there was a way we could prescribe a pill for accountability. That's all we're missing. If there was some way to write a prescription, I think that just needs to be, when we have guests on the show and if it goes wrong, but I'm going to prescribe you some accountability and some honor. Here you go, sir. Take that and come back on the show in 2 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, it's a point. It's a simple one, but it's the kind of thing that's missing is that, we consider everything. There's nothing about us that can overcome how bad it is out there.
We've become so lazy and so like our forefathers would be like, this wasn't what the plan was.
Right.
So
right.
You could pretend to be a dog and make a living for people to watch you act like a dog. When I grew up, if there was a kid, and there was some in my neighborhood that acted like a dog or an animal instead of being a human being, their mom took them somewhere.
He's talking about there's a YouTube phenomenon where this girl gets paid a lot of money to act like a dog.
Yeah, and but it's everywhere, and people, they spend all day, they pay money. It's called the fans only page or whatever, where people
right.
degrading things themselves and will pay. That's where we're at now. That's the entertainment that's considered. It's no longer going to see a movie and being enlightened or learn something or a lesson.
Right. Or taken away or somehow transported.
Now it's just watch me grade myself and you enjoy it.
Interesting. Let me answer something on the chat here. Have I seen the interview with Dr. Jay Bhattacharya of Stanford? He's estimated that upward of 75 million Americans have been infected and we have herd immunity. Yes, I did talk about that earlier from a Dr. Katz interview. Same theory, that as many as half of us have T-cell immunity from other coronavirus exposure. Thus, when we get to 20% of people in a population with SARS coronavirus 2, we're now at 70% overall. I'm going to be talking to someone from Additics tomorrow about documenting T-cell immunity and how we can go about doing that. Well, do you have to take shelter or anything? Or are you just able to just kind of wait this thing out?
I'm not even rocking an umbrella, man. I'll just turn my hat forward. No, my only concern is that the one time they undersell it, I'll be floating in my fish tank telling you guys like, yeah, it's a lot of flooding. So, but it's just, again, it's the same thing where, because originally there was I believe 5 of these possible hurricanes building. This is number 3. Wow. So if I was to guess, the one that was going to be the punch in the mouth would probably be the last one. Right. That's the way in every movie.
Right. Right.
So after this one, we'll laugh, and the next one will go to the beach and like a camper, like, hey, let's watch the hurricane coming in, and that's when life as we know it changes.
What happens to your fish tank? What do you do?
Well, they get free. So
into the hurricane, is that what you're saying?
Well, the best case scenario, if it's flooded, they get free, and they can wander
the
around.
Tank just stays there in case it doesn't.
The first thing to go, the power would go out, and I have a generator for my fish tanks because they only have about 3 or 4 hours of oxygen once the pumps go out, once the water starts churning.
Jeez.
So once that happens and they begin to suffocate, and it's not a pretty sight. Wow. Some fish have the ability to go to the surface and make their own oxygen, but not all do, and it still is damaging. So it would be and the more fish you have, where I have large schools of fish, that oxygen would be just like if we had a crowded room in a freezer and we close the door and it's airtight and the power goes out, we'd only have a matter of hours before the oxygen would be used up, and then we would begin to suffocate. So, you don't want that to happen.
Thank you, Alyssa and
So
Kelly.
you let them go free. Okay, I like that idea better.
Alyssa and Kelly for the comments on HLN. I appreciate that. Well, my friend, I got to go do this Fox 11 thing I do every night. Let's see what I can tell. There it is with Alex Michelson. I can tell you what we're talking about. There's been an EDD reset. We're going to talk to Orange County LA Supervisor Mark Ridley Thomas and Orange County Supervisor Don Wagner. So we have a whole night of county supervisors ringing in.
Party.
Yeah. The Orange County guy's trying to get President Trump to send COVID funds directly to the county rather than the state. Not a bad idea. The county.
No, good luck.
Did you say good luck?
Good luck, yeah. I'm sure the state will be good with that.
Yeah, I know, especially this state.
They need those funds to misappropriate them.
I know. Trust me, I know. This is California. This is what bothers me about the taxes here more than anything. I'd much rather give it to anybody than the state, who just vanishes, just destroys everything. All right, anything you want to get through before we'll look for you this week on Gutfeld? We watched you with great delight last week. That was funny.
As usual.
And Kat was in unusually good spirits.
Yeah, well, she's engaged now. She really has no reason to be. That's one thing. She's got to change her stick a little bit because, she has a really good job. She's in a good relationship.
Right. She can't complain anymore.
No, because now when you start complaining when you've made it, you sound different.
Yeah.
She can complain about how she was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She sings better. You're right.
Yeah.
I helped her get the diamond ring, just so you know.
If my wife says I'm so mad because my burger purse is late, I'd be like, you want to keep that to yourself?
Speaking of your wife, put out another plug for the food.
Oh, Sensible Meals. Make sure you check it out. Instagram, Twitter.
Everybody loves your wife.
So I'm making sure your essential meals are getting out. And I'm actually, as soon as we get out of here, I'm going on the front line to give another one of my pep talk fire up speeches before the crew gets to work. So
well done.
So we're not number one for a reason. So we just keep kicking it out. So that's the plan today. But yeah, Sensible Meals at Sensible Meals. I got mine. Get yours.
All right, Tyrus, we'll look for you at Gutfeld this weekend, and good luck. If you need anything from us, we're here. If you need to get out easy.
I got it out. Therapy. I feel better. I got it out.
Yeah, I could tell. It's funny. That's interesting. I see your face brighten up.
This is your weekly therapy with Dr. Drew.
He was angry, and I think you've coalesced your entire sort of position to we need to hold the bastards accountable somehow. Yeah. It's either with the law or with the term limits, or the bastards need to be held accountable. And we have no power to do so, and that's pissing you off, and it should.
Yeah, but we do have a president in right now who's crazy enough to do it.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. All right, my friend. Talk to you soon.
All right.
All right, buddy.
Thank you.
And for those of you on the chat, I've been watching you. I've been seeing what's going on there. I have not much to add. I will just repeat the CDC thing again. CDC took down a conversation they had. This is now reported in the medical journals this afternoon, or medical sort of blasts that come out, that they were worried about aerosol spread of COVID, meaning you can get it across the room or, at further distance than just 6 feet. I think that's probably true. There is some risk of that. Then that should be markedly diminished by wearing masks. So the question is, maybe they're going to expand the areas, the places we should be wearing masks, or the mechanism, or the procedure of wearing masks. I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
And if you get drunk in a bar outside, wear a mask because you forget.
Thank you, Bunny Bubs. And I think it's that we, I do think the masks are working, and I do think we should be continuing to wear them. I think we should be careful, and we should be allowing the people that create safe living and working environments to be worried about the aerosols. That, I think, is more the issue, not all the rest of us.
So we're going to have this guy from Addicts. Is that how you say it? Addicts. Can you explain what that is? It's going to be kind of a nerd fest, I think.
A little bit, I think. It is I was talking about earlier about and I'm involved formally with this company, so full disclosure. because I was very turned on by their technology and what they're planning to do. They want to create one of the things they want to do is have us evaluate whether or not our T cells have immunity to COVID. That's one of the things I believe their technology will be able to tell us, and whether you've had response to a vaccine, whether we're adequately responding. It's really, keep hearing these T cell things, but there's no commercially available way of measuring that. This may be the answer to that, and I'll ask him those questions tomorrow. Louise asking about the poor guy on the YMH with the cyst. That is Josh Potter. He has not gone to surgery yet. I keep bugging him. He has not done so.
But be sure to check out this week's Dr. Drew After Dark with Tom Segura. Always a favorite.
Okay, guys. Thank you for being here.
And then we also have Tom Arnold on Wednesday.
Tom Arnold on Wednesday.
Yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be more politics, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm hoping we can kind of keep it. We'll
what else?
Addiction. You can talk addiction like crazy. We did a bit of that today.
That doesn't sell.
And his partner Sasha wants to ask me some questions, so I may
Sasha,
let her.
I'm sorry I didn't put Sasha's picture up. I'll get that for tomorrow.
I may let her interview me a little bit because she said she has a million questions. I thought, oh, good.
And then after the Tom Arnold show,
strangely, she said there should be a documentary made about me. Isn't that weird?
And after that, I'm going to be with Colby Rebel. Taking your calls. If you want to talk dead people, call us.
That's Wednesday.
Yes, after Tom Arnold.
All right. And thank you guys for being here. We'll be back again tomorrow at this time, 3 o'clock, and we will see you then. According to SAMHSA's National Survey on Drug Use and Health, approximately 20.3 million people above the age 12 suffer from substance use disorder. Incredible. The disease of addiction takes an average of 130 Americans every day. Sadly, the opioid crisis, which many consider the worst pandemic of our time, has been even further perpetuated by the spread of COVID-19. Since the start of the coronavirus outbreak, drug overdoses have increased by 18%. Factors like economic stress and social isolation have led to increased depression and unnecessary deaths. A Better Life Recovery is a premier addiction treatment center in Southern California, offering one of the most highly regarded and comprehensive addiction treatment programs in the United States. Dedicated to helping its clients achieve complete inner and outer transformation, they offer a 45 to 90-day program custom tailored to meet the needs of each individual client. Long-term is the way to go. Many of A Better Life's clients elect to stay up to 9 months to receive additional support. A Better Life Recovery will do whatever it takes for as long as it takes to ensure the success of every client. Are you ready for a better life? Go to abetterliferecovery.com or call 866-581-4401 now.